All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today is Monday. It is June 20th. It is the last day of spring. And get this, I was out earlier today and it was rainy and it even snowed in the mountains. I have a friend who was up in the colony in the canyons, and she told me that it was snowing up there. So it's a relatively high altitude. But again, I'm like, snow, come on. Like, no. But we're getting there. So tomorrow is the first day of summer. And in case you don't know, the old adage about Park City is that people come for the winter and they stay for the summer. So if you're thinking about coming to Park City, summer is an amazing time. I'm hopeful that Mother Nature is like, all right, it's spring. I had my chance, winter and spring, and maybe now I will just let it be summer. So please, like, pray with me, okay? And leave a comment below if you've been to Park City during the summer, if you love it, and I just and what you love to do, because this is my third summer here, and I am super pumped to kind of embrace summer finally now that the snow is almost fully melted. So as always with this video, my goal is to give you some tidbits about the Park City market as it pertains to this last week. And I also to share a topic kind of more nationally and how it is impacting our market here. So let's kick this off first with the Park City market. So our close numbers. So closed deals that happened in the last week, we had only 13, which is down by half from the previous week. But it's also up by 8% in the same week of 2021. The median sold price was at 1.2275, which is up from last week. Which is down as well from last week, but marginally here. When we're talking 13 sales, it's really hard to make a general statement about a market. And days on market is at five days on the market. And that's up from 2 days on the market last week, and down 61.5% from last year. So days on market is certainly fluctuating depending on how many listings are coming on. Right now, we're sitting at around the high 600s in terms of the inventory. Now that number is all of Park City. This number is just Park City and Snyderville Basin. So 6846 Oh my God. 84098 and 84060. Sorry, I get all my numbers confused. So what are we seeing here? Again, as I've been saying over the last few weeks, we have to look at this historically. So what has gone on in the last month here that can trigger some of these sales? If you think about the average selling cycle is 30 days from contract to close, which means at around this point last month in May, it was still right before Memorial Day. There weren't a lot of people in town. So there are obviously there are fewer people in town, fewer buyers, fewer deals going on. And now we are seeing that. So it is extremely hard to look at any market through this lens that's extremely narrow. We have to look at it from what happened during that time of the year. And obviously, as we continue to move forward through the year, we're starting to see a little bit more of that seasonality. So historically, and I'm going to do a whole nother video about this, but historically, we see sales take a dip in the winter. Why is that? People are here, they're skiing, they're not really making these big decisions because they don't always have the time. And then during the summer, it peaks. And I will show you stats on another video where you can literally see month after month after month, or quarter after quarter, it kind of goes like this and this and this. But the good news is it continues to go up. So as far as I can tell you, if you get nothing else from this video, the market in Park City has always been stable, obviously with a few little dips here and there, which is usually seasonality. And then the absurd increase in 2020, which was just not normal. So now we're starting to get back down to a little bit more of a normal pace. So now let's talk about the big elephant in the room. So for those of you that are watching, I would love to know what your interest rate was when you purchased your first home. I can tell you, so obviously, in case you missed the news, last week the Feds raised the rate quite a bit. They haven't raised it that much since the 90s. So it's a huge, huge, huge jump. And it obviously impacted the mortgage rate. So keep in mind that when the Fed raises the rates, it does not always have an equal impact on the mortgage rates. So, but what we have been seeing is that the mortgage rates are going up. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how that is impacting our market here. So I think there's a few things to note here. So in Park City in particular, a majority of buyers tend to be cash buyers. So these interest rates, they're not that sensitive. These buyers are not that sensitive to the mortgage rates. Are they sensitive to the other interest rate? Absolutely. Is their cash and their buying power tied to the stock market? Possibly. So, so we just have to keep in mind that if you're considering selling, that your buyers, there might be some that are set off by the mortgage rates, and some that are simply set off by their other holdings, and how that and how their holdings impact their purchase power. To purchase. So we are seeing a lot of people kind of waiting to see what happens with rates, but I have my own opinions about that. And I will say, I just read a quote the other day, and again, I'm going to do another video about this, where it said, marry the house, date the rate. Okay. So if you find a house that you love, marry it, put a ring on it, go buy it, get whatever the rate is that you can, just get the house, because you can always adjust the rate later. You can change the terms, you can change the product, you can change that rate. So again, marry the house, not the rate. But I wanted to share with you, just historically speaking here, what rates have done over the last, let's say, almost 40 years. So in 1986, rates were at 10.19%. 10%. Okay. 1996, so 10 years later, they dropped to 7.81. So that is almost a 3% drop, or 3-point drop over 10 years. 2006, so this was right at the beginning of the Great Recession. A lot of us didn't know it, but this was right at the beginning. Rates were 6.41. In 2009, so not obviously, that's only 3 years, that they went down to 5%. So that's the last time we saw this rate. Obviously, in 2020, we were looking at 3 and below. And in 2022, for today, we're back in the 5s. So the one thing that I think we have to remember about these rates is what happened to home prices during this time. Home prices, yes, we saw in 2008, 9 that home prices did go down a lot. Obviously, that was caused by the banks, who were just giving money to anybody with a pulse, basically. However, we have not been in that same position since the early 90s. But if you look at it big picture, we continue to see how home prices go up and up and up. Okay, so if you're thinking about buying, right now is that time to think bigger picture, not so rate sensitive. Now, I completely understand that the rates dictate the purchase power that you have, and that any little increase can impact your monthly budget for your mortgage. So I'm very, very aware of that. But if you are buying at a time when you have money in savings and you can afford to hold the house and keep the rate, at least for a little bit, you can possibly buy down the rate a little bit later. So personal example, I purchased my New York City home. I think I closed on April 15th of 2014. And within 9 months, I had refinanced. And I think I bought at around 4%. And I refinanced to 3.5 and changed my monthly costs pretty drastically. So I was pretty excited about that. So if you're thinking like the rates are up. I can't buy now. I'm going to wait for them to come down. We're going to wait for everything to come down. Will it come down? Yes, but will you know when we hit the bottom, right? What is the bottom? Is the bottom going to be what it was back in 2019, or is the bottom going to be even less than that? Especially if we do head to a recession, which I do want to remind you that a recession does not equal a housing crisis. So if you have questions about your market, please let me know, and I would be happy to connect you with agents in your market that you can talk with about your specific home. Keep in mind that every home, every neighborhood, every city is its own market. So I am giving you specific numbers here in Park City, and then very broad general numbers as it pertains to the interest rates in particular, which is what I chose to talk about this week. And obviously, if you're thinking about purchasing in Park City, I would personally be going all in, because I've only seen the market, even though I've only been here a few years, I've only seen the market increase. And when I look back, and again, I'm going to do another video on this, when I look back and I look at the history of what's gone on in Park City, the prices continue to go up. So you're either going to buy it now, or are you going to wait? They say buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to buy real estate. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. If you've got any questions, let me know. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the market, how you're adjusting, and how you're doing with it, if you're buying, if you're selling, or considering doing any of those. All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.